I'm Lauren Allen. And I'm Owen Campbell. We decided to make our documentary on school lunches because it is a topic close to home. We wanted to know where the food we eat every day comes from and how it is produced. We wanted to know how it affects students and how it could be improved.
We faced many challenges when creating a documentary. We had a hard time finding interviews and we got ghosted a lot. There were also some internal group conflicts about fooling around and procrastination. But then we all finished our work, so that was good. And we learned a lot about how the food you eat affects climate change, how students are being bullied for the food they eat, and the different programs that work to help students get healthier lunches. On that note, we would like to thank our interviewees.
Lilia Reisner for providing insight on New York City school lunch system.
Robert Weinstein for providing us with useful information about our own school lunch system.
Will, who gave us a tour of the school garden.
Pam Koch, who offered feedback on implementing nutrition and agriculture in school curriculums.
Meredith Hill Patel, who gave us an understanding of what it means to have a child in a fresh school lunch system. And Mara Fleischman, who helped us learn about how healthy food and school gardens can affect students. And on that note, we hope you enjoy our documentary.
Every day, millions of students rely on school lunches for their daily nutrition. But how healthy are these meals? Today, we take a closer look at what goes into the food served in our schools. School lunches have been improved over the years, but there are still major gaps in nutrition and quality. How does a school meal compare to one packed from home and to other developed countries across the world? How else would we want to feed our children and still expect them to succeed? Behind the scenes, school meals go through a long journey before reaching students' plates. But where does this food come from, and what impact does it have on the environment? What about its impact on the economy, socially, and the nutrition and well-being? And how can we improve the quality of meals given to kids? The truth is that the system has been flawed at the start and needs a major change. Countries like Finland and Sweden give all kids free, healthy lunches. They use fresh, local foods. Finland and Sweden, which have effective lunch systems with nutritional meals, but with no attached cost. In the US, we often use processed foods to save money, which can be high in unhealthy ingredients. The fact that school lunches cost money goes against their original purpose, to give children healthy and nutritious food so that every child can be well fed. This practice started in the Great Depression, when many kids were going hungry during school or not eating enough food. The Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010, pushed by First Lady Michelle Obama, tried to make school lunches healthier. This law set new rules for things like how much salt, sugar, and fat could be put in school meals. However, parts of this law were later changed, making some meals less healthy again. Data shows that the US lags behind in providing healthy school lunches. For example, in France, school lunches are often made with fresh, local ingredients and are seen as part of a child's education in healthy eating.
In my very dream world, all students would be learning by growing their own food and all, not that I think it would be feasible, not that it would be easy to have students grow all their food, so maybe they wouldn't grow everything they eat in schools, but I would love to see a future where all children starting in preschool are introduced to growing food, introduced to gardens and food systems by hands-on learning.
Matter of fact, most of the schools, when the children get done with their lunch, they actually are sorting it, and so they are putting the leftover food in compost. We also just restarted in earlier October 2024, this month, we restarted that now every single residential place in New York City collects compost. There were some people that were doing it, and now it's across the whole city. So students hopefully will get used to doing that at home, and then be doing it in school. But that doesn't make up for, it's the best when the students actually eat the food and we are decreasing food waste.
School lunches affect the mental health of students and are very important to how healthy kids are.
So there's a lot of ways in which students can be affected, but there's a really cool study out of Syracuse University. They were looking at schools where no one had to apply and lunch was free for everybody. And then they were looking at schools where they still had to apply and you either paid half price or full price or you got free lunch. And the students that were eating free, those students were eating lunch more often. And they saw improvements in their ELA scores and they saw improvements in their math scores. And the improvements were equivalent to what you would call like 6 weeks of school.
School lunches should be free, since lunch, especially nutritious ones, need to be accessible everywhere and anywhere, no matter the background. Data states that hot food aids in digestion, and foods such as tomatoes tend to be more nutritious the longer it's cooked. It's more bioavailable and easier for the body to absorb. Yet most schools only heat it in machines such as microwave, which is not a proper way to heat food. Assistant Administrator Ellen S. Woodward wrote in 1937 via Virginia Commonwealth University. Consequently, hot lunches were prioritized in the 30-plus states that participated in the school lunch program during the Depression. Even though school lunches aren't perfect, schools are working to improve their recipes based on student feedback.
To come out and engage with a group of students to kind of taste and get their feedback so that we can use that to figure out what direction we want to take some new menu items and see if it's something that the students would be interested in. We released our new menu website this year, Meal Viewer, but that actually has a way of gathering feedback from the students directly as well. So just constantly, trying to evaluate what our current recipes are and look to improve on them for the future.
However, the benefits for school lunch may be, in the past, the government has given kids cheaper and less healthy meals that kids don't like. Now the quality of school lunches has improved, but is still unsatisfactory for the nutritional needs of the students. This is why school lunch programs have been put in place, like the Chef Ann Foundation and the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act of 2010.
2010 Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act was huge because there hadn't been changes in the way that the policies were working in a really long time. And so
what I do at the Chef Ann Foundation is we help schools serve less processed food and more scratch-made.
Programs like these work to help provide actually nutritious school lunches to students across America. But even if the kids are getting healthier lunches, it's still important for the kids to know the values of the lunches and how being healthy is better for them.
Everyone. But what they realized is they have things like cherry tomatoes that they see growing in the garden, and then they know some of the cherry tomatoes that are served in the school lunch are from the garden, but not all of them. But it makes them more excited to eat those cherry tomatoes because they had the experience growing them, because they got to pick them off of a plant, that then they got really excited about it. And so it's about the experience and getting kids connected to food, excited about food, talking about food.
A way for this to happen is with school gardens, which have been implemented in around 20% of schools in America. School gardens have increased kids' excitement for school lunch, but there's another benefit to gardens and plant-based food. With these nutritious lunches, we can also save carbon emissions in the air. Meals containing beef have led to 34% emissions, as opposed to 32% in vegetable emissions. As said by GCNF.org, if all school districts opted for a reduced annual food group, the U.S. alone could minimize their carbon footprint by 700 million kilograms of CO2. That is equivalent to installing 99,000 residential solar panels, or eliminating 150,000 cars from the roads for a year. By examining school lunch programs, we can see that America's approach to feeding students is inadequate, because food alone is not enough to achieve equitable dining experience. The current approach ignores issues related to socioeconomic dignity, food quality beyond nutrition effects, food insecurity on weekends and holidays, and lost opportunities to feed socioeconomically disadvantaged students who may bring less healthy foods to school because of low quality of provided food. low quality of provided foods. Students are in debt because of school lunches and are humiliated because they cannot afford the school lunches. If we do not solve these problems, kids will be unhealthy and insecure. There are many possible solutions to the school lunch problem. One is to make school workers, to grow healthy food, and make it cheaper because the school doesn't have to buy the food. Another is to increase funding for school lunches at school gardens. Schools usually get ready-made food from factories. A way to make them healthier and sustainable is to get fresh food from farms. Thank you for watching, and please write to elected officials, superintendent, and school board to ask them to improve school lunch quality. To motivate our children to learn, we need to solve the food problem. Offering higher quality meals to our students is the only way that we can guarantee we will have a future generation which will succeed.